In this episode of Trekking Through Compliance, we take up the alternative factor.
Compliance, the final frontier. Tom Fox is the voyager of Trekking Through Compliance. His mission? To explore the original series and seek out and share what it can teach you about compliance. Here's your host, Tom Fox.
The alternative factor. In this episode of Trekking Through Compliance, we consider the episode The Alternative Factor, which aired on March 23, 1967, and occurred on Stardate 3087.6. In this story, the Enterprise is rocked by an energy pulse. Spock informs Kirk that the gravity pull of a planet fluctuated to zero and says that the surrounding space seemed to momentarily wink out of existence. Sensors locate a human presence on the planet, which was not previously noted. Spock and Kirk beam down to the planet and find a one-man spacecraft. A disheveled, bearded man named Lazarus appears and accidentally steps off a cliff. The man survives the fall but is injured, and Kirk has him beamed to the Enterprise for a medical examination. Back on the ship, Lieutenant Masters informs Captain Kirk that the mysterious disturbance has drained the dilithium crystals in the warp drive. A message from Starfleet reports that every quadrant has been subjected to the same winking effect and electronic distribution as the Enterprise. That's disruption as the Enterprise. Starfleet fears that the disruption may be a prelude to invasion and has ordered all ships except the Enterprise to leave the area. Kirk is ordered to find the cause of the disturbance. Lazarus frequently fades in and out of the universe, encountering his look-alike enemy in a dimensional corridor, creating an energy wink, rippling time through the universe. Spock reports a rip in time in space and on the planet. Lazarus insists that his enemy trying to destroy the universe is causing the phenomena. Lazarus demands dilithium crystals so he may fix his ship and continue to fight his enemy. Kirk refuses, and Lazarus steals the dilithium crystals from the Enterprise and is caught. Lazarus denies the theft and blames the theft on his yet unseen nemesis. Kirk beams back to the planet with Lazarus and a security team to seek out this hidden enemy. Lazarus has another dimensional corridor episode and is returned to sickbay. Lazarus explains to Kirk that he is a time traveler and the planet below was once his home world. Lazarus claims his enemy destroyed his civilization in the past, for which Lazarus has chased him for centuries. Spock develops a hypothesis that Lazarus is really two men and his enemy is a counterpart from an antimatter universe. If he and his antimatter self contact each other within either physical universe outside the dimensional corridor, they would destroy each other and annihilate both the matter and antimatter universes. Lazarus slips away from sickbay and creates a diversion in engineering to acquire the dilithium crystals. With the stolen crystals, he beams down to the planet to repair his ship. Kirk follows, but Lazarus activates his time machine just as Kirk tries to stop him. Stepping into the portal, Kirk is accidentally transported to the antimatter universe where he meets the antimatter Lazarus. The antimatter Lazarus calmly admits to stealing the Enterprise's dilithium crystals. He also explains that the dimensional corridor was like a safety valve that protected the two universes from blowing up. He informs Kirk that his people believed two universes existed, and when his matter counterpart learned about it, he went insane and became obsessed with destroying him. He tells Kirk that only by destroying the ship with the two Lazaruses inside the dimensional corridor, which links the two universes, can they be saved. Kirk realizes that this would trap the two men in the corridor forever. Kirk confronts the matter Lazarus and pushes him into the dimensional door. Kirk heads back to the Enterprise, ordering the ship's phasers to target the dimensional ship. The two Lazaruses meet once more and fight inside the dimensional corridor as the phaser vaporizes the ship. So, what's a fun fact about this case? Well, most interestingly, although Robert Brown played the role of Lazarus, he was not the first choice, and actor John Drew Barrymore, who is the father of Drew Barrymore, was originally contracted to play Lazarus, but he didn't show up to work when the filming began. Roddenberry's production company actually filed a grievance against him, and he was suspended from obtaining acting work for 6 months. It was this chaos around the start of the filming that led Robert Brown, who took the place of or starred as Lazarus, to say the production filming was very tight and that it was very high tension on the set. This story doesn't get rated too high on Star Trek lists, although I found a lot to enjoy about it. The first one is obviously the name Lazarus, with the biblical implications of the Lazarus rising from the grave story from the original Testament or the Old Testament and the Hebrew Bible. But also the trope of traveling between universes is something that Star Trek explores extensively throughout its oeuvre, and is something that science fiction looks at as well. So I find a lot to commend about this episode, and I hope you will too. So check it out, and if you're so inclined, leave a comment and let me know what you think. Today I wanted to explore some of the key ethics lessons from the alternative factor, which I think are important for the compliance professional. Number one, understanding the unintended consequences of innovation. The episode centers on the character of Lazarus, who's been pursuing an interdimensional being known as the Antimatter entity across multiple universes. His reckless pursuit of this entity ultimately threatens the fabric of the universe. This highlights the need for innovators and technologists and AI specialists to carefully consider the potential unintended consequences of their work, especially when it comes to powerful or disruptive technologies as we are seeing in place right now. Two, balancing the greater good with individual needs. Lazarus is driven by a singular personal obsession that puts the entire universe at risk. This conflict between individual interests and the greater good is a common ethical dilemma that the compliance and ethics professional must help organizations navigate. Striking the right balance requires empathy, nuance, and a willingness to make difficult trade-offs. Number three, ensuring transparency and accountability in research. The episode suggests that Lazarus has been operating in secrecy without proper oversight or accountability. This lack of transparency can enable unethical or reckless behavior, even by well-intentioned individuals. Compliance and ethics functions must champion the importance of open, collaborative research environments that prioritize responsible oversight and accountability. Number four, promoting ethical decision-making and conflict resolution. As the episode unfolds, Lazarus and the Enterprise crew become embroiled in a conflict that threatens to literally tear apart the fabric of reality. This highlights a crucial role that compliance and ethics professionals play in helping organizations develop robust decision-making frameworks, conflict resolution mechanisms to address complex, high-stakes ethical challenges. Number five, cultivating intellectual humility and curiosity. The alternative factor, being a being of immense power and mystery, serves as a humbling reminder of the limitations of human knowledge and understanding. Compliance and ethics leaders should encourage an intellectual humility that embraces curiosity, skepticism, and a willingness to learn and evolve from one's ethical frameworks. Emphasizing empathy and consideration for diverse perspectives. This episode suggests that the antimatter entity may not be inherently malevolent, but simply a being that exists in a different state. This highlights the importance of compliance and ethics professionals championing an empathetic, nuanced approach that considers multiple perspectives and avoids quick, simplistic judgments. By drawing on the ethical lessons from the alternative factor, compliance specialists can help organizations foster a more thoughtful, transparent, and adaptive approach to innovation, research, and decision-making, ultimately contributing to more sustainable and responsible business practices going forward. Join me tomorrow for City on the Edge of Forever.
If you enjoyed this episode of Trekking Through Compliance, you can help it grow by sharing it with the biggest Trek fan you know.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.